Well, it is time now to know what's on the front pages of the Nigerian newspapers. Public affairs analyst Oladende Ario and broadcast journalist Funke Treasure are here in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Where's my birthday present?
We'll have that after now. All right, let's quickly head straight to the front page of the papers, and we'll begin with the Daily Times. Senate issues warrant of arrest for NDDC boss over 6.25 billion naira palliatives spending. And to the front page of the Blueprint now, Niger passengers who deals with bandits we slept side by side with cows, drank contaminated water. To the Leadership newspaper, experts split over plan to use special accounts for arms. And on the front page of the National Economy, 1.2 billion naira daily spent on petrol threatens government's no subsidy policy. And to the Guardian now, trade restrictions, climate change threaten food supply. NIMET's forecast for grounds food insecurity. To the Daily Sun, Buhari governors meet on fuel pricing framework Thursday. Don't panic over our borrowings, federal government tells Nigerians. And on the front page of the Vanguard, governors have final say on petrol price hike, federal government. All right, we quickly move now to the front page of the Daily Trust. Borno attack, hundreds trapped as Boko Haram hoist flags in Mate. And to the front page of the Punch newspaper, division among bandits delays abducted Niger schoolboys release. And finally, on the front page of the News Direct, fuel price, electricity tariff. There is no money for subsidy in Ngige, says governors to decide finally on Thursday. Now, quickly, let's look at the story on the front page of the Daily Trust, talking about how hundreds are trapped as Boko Haram hoist flags in Mate, and the military must act fast to avoid indoctrination. That's what experts are saying. And Governor Zulum is saying that he's confident troops will reclaim Mate. 5 IDPs have been slaughtered already in Damboa. Now, this is coming at a time where there are concerns across the country with the level of insecurity in terms of kidnapping, banditry, and all of that activities. And concerns are being raised because at some point the government said that Boko Haram had been technically annihilated, and that they had reclaimed all of the states and localities that they had taken hold of, but now we are seeing them, coming up again. Let's get your reaction.
What we're seeing is the truth and is the reality. When lying became a part of government policy,
those are strong words. We have to be careful.
Okay. Well, because when we were told that Boko Haram had been annihilated, if my English grammar is anything to go by, when you say a body is annihilated, it means it's been completely destroyed and then brought to waste. But how come, since all of that, they seem now to be bringing the battle to us?
But you know that guerrilla warfare style of this sort of conflict means that they could just sprout up somewhere else and show up somewhere else. I believe truly at some point this was achieved. And
it was achieved.
I believe so. I truly believe so that at some point this was achieved.
Okay.
And then intelligence was compromised. We had issues with arms and ammunition. We had issues with governance on the battlefield and all of that, and then they lost the ground.
Then there were talks about issues of morale.
So I truly believe.
There is a trending video on the social media of soldiers at the war front crying for food and water. They were soaking gari. Now, when you have all of these things in place, how do you expect a sustained and sustainable control?
Which is why
one
I
of the
said
things.
Compromising issues of governance at the battlefield.
So for me, I don't now want to believe anything. Because over time, so much, we were told more than 4 times that Shekau has been killed. Over and over, you still see him in video claiming responsibility for current attacks and all of that. The question still remains that we are not doing enough.
What is worrisome?
As much as we say that guerrilla warfare and all of that, I'm not a novice in all of these things. Yes, war of attrition, yes, But the way we are going about it, no serious nation.
We are not tackling it with the seriousness
we are
it
not
requires.
doing enough. See, when we look at intelligence gathering to start with, it's not been as it is.
All right.
And whatever architecture you want to put in place in terms of security must be premised on the quality of intelligence.
All right, let's
For
quickly
me,
hear.
what is worrisome presently is the fact that the Boko Haram flag has been hoisted somewhere. Mate.
You can trek from Maiduguri to Mate.
And then if you look at the response of our of our military, so the Kagara boys were kidnapped. The Air Force aircraft was deployed.
Yeah.
And then it crashed.
It crashed.
NSAS, police were sent to the NSAS venue. They got some people. Behold, the Black Maria had to be pushed. What is even the state of the facilities and equipment and vehicles and
perhaps this is why
we have
the Senate was
security.
calling for a declaration of a state of emergency with regards to insecurity.
You see, if you say you are declaring of emergency, what new thing are you bringing to the table?
Okay, that's what they said.
The example you gave now, when I saw them physically pushing the Black Maria, I was like, has it gotten this bad? Has it gotten this bad? And there were human beings in that thing who needed ventilation, air to survive. You must understand that.
Absolutely.
We're not talking of criminals carrying AK-47 and other sophisticated weapons now. People who came out to protest peacefully, so to say. Now, you must understand the fact that we are not up front in our plan to overcome Boko Haram.
The tragedy that we were
this
chasing
is a report,
people.
right? I can tell you that I read a report where the governor said more than 16 local governments have been taken over by Boko Haram. So this is just the latest. Okay? It's not like they have done something new that's not been done before.
See, for me, again, the tragedy is that something happened. There was the kidnap of school children. The new security chiefs deployed this aircraft to do surveillance, and then it crashed. So we lost gallant, trained, experienced soldiers in the process. It's a tragedy. Those people have lost their lives. Between when the Kagara incident happened and now, we've seen a spate of, kidnapping. Even the monarch of the president's state town was kidnapped. Yesterday we heard another monarch was kidnapped in Rivers. I hope that we won't get to the point where commissioners, deputy governors, even legislators will start being kidnapped before the leaders of Nigeria will know and realize that there is fire on the mountain.
Well, they have been speaking, and that is
It is not a matter of speaking.
They are saying that.
It is not
now,
a matter
this is
of
what they are saying.
It's a matter of action.
When we talk about action,
we cannot be
they are saying,
negotiating with bandits and thinking of giving amnesty to bandits. That is something that a lot of persons are against. There are good bandits and there are bad bandits.
Now, what
understand.
they are saying on the part of governments, especially coming from the Senate with regards to a declaration of a state of emergency, is that once we declare that state of emergency, monies are designated. For instance, they are saying that the 500 billion that has been said to be for palliatives should be transferred to getting equipment, training of soldiers, and having a timeline when we will end this fight against insecurity. Now, for others, they are saying that perhaps we should start looking at devolution of power, restructuring.
You see, it gets to a point where you think about Nigeria and then you are worried. You have a personal worry, wondering how did we get here? A situation where we had to degenerate to a level where a country with a standing army, with a standing air force, and all other agencies now have to go on its knees now, negotiating with bandits. It's an indication of failure, leadership failure. And I say it without any remorse. By doing that, you are transferring wealth into their hands. You are empowering them. Now, there's another reading to it. All the bandits that have been arrested, all kidnappers have been arrested. you see them in rags, and you ask yourself, the millions that they have collected, how come it's not reflecting on them? It means some people are behind all of these things. They are sponsored. So when the money
some
comes,
will say these are conspiracy theories because they cannot be proven.
They cannot be proven, but we have to find a way.
Who will stay in the forest, come out to kidnap people? They also endanger their life. Don't forget that. And then the money now comes, and then you go out for another operation again, and you remain looking the same wretched way. Let me also remind you, the Kankara kidnap, government announced that 800 million naira was paid before those people could be released. The leader of that operation, he later came out to surrender and renounce banditry.
Did he return
and he said he was paid 30 million naira. 770 million naira is missing. Nobody has looked in that to say, okay, what happened to this money?
You know the danger.
For me, I can tell you, it's a business now, and it's not about to abate.
You know the danger
if we don't tackle it head on.
Exactly.
And if we are to tackle it, which is the question I'll be throwing at you, Funke, if we are to tackle it, some have said that perhaps we should look at restructuring, that the government alone, such that security, even at local government level, is involved, state, everybody, every sphere of government is involved at dealing with these issues.
Before I answer that question, let me just quickly say the danger in the way and manner this banditry is being handled is that we're telling unemployed youths across Nigeria that you now have a new kind of job you can get into.
A new venture.
Yes. So you get into banditry, you kidnap people, we pay you.
Right.
So you're endorsing banditry as a viable employment opportunity for the young. In fact, for everyone in Nigeria. Because you can't keep paying ransoms and then keep borrowing on behalf of the nation. It means you're squandering our money, you're mismanaging our wealth, and you're creating a socio-economic problem for even people coming behind. I remember the Minister of Information saying Nigeria is better governed than before they met it. Really? Is that what we're seeing now?
Right.
Let me come back to the question. You have to ask me the question.
Now, the question is, there are calls for restructuring, that the federal government alone cannot deal with the issues of insecurity in the government.
But I remember now. Now, so when Amotekun, when the Amotekun idea came, the idea of having this sort of security, you remember the hula baloo around it, the stiff opposition from the regions of the country. Let me put it that way. Now we've seen that governors actually have no jurisdiction over the police in their domains. You have to get this approval. You have to get it. So when there are emergencies, you need to then begin the process of getting approval from the federal government or from the central government, which delays response, which delays getting results. And before you get all the approvals, the worst has happened. So we're now back to restructuring. We're now back to, until we all sit down to say, this Nigeria, how can we move forward? Do we go our different ways regionally, or do we do what? The Senate President was with the president yesterday. I was surprised that we got there and he started talking about the NDDC.
No, he also spoke about insecurity.
That is diversionary.
He also spoke about insecurity, where he said that the government
if you do the reading, he said it partly when he was being interviewed, and then diverted to NDDC. NDDC is not the problem now. They had a chance to deal with the NDDC issue. They didn't. So now, what we're facing is banditry. Does he want to wait until his legislators, his senators, start being kidnapped? Look at what has happened to Okorocha. It's still part of the security. Look at how a whole senator was being,
tabbed,
shoved.
Let me
sitting senator.
Right.
I've always been saying that in this country, we have a style of being on serious, both at individual and official levels. We started with Boko Haram, terrorists, Suddenly, a new word emerged, hoodlums. Later, bandits came, then kidnappers, cattle rustlers, armed robbers.
We have names for all
Whereas
of them.
all of these things, they are connected. The universal name for them is the word criminals. I don't now understand how we mismanaged ourselves, including resources, security architecture, whereby we have been so weakened that instead of taking the fight to criminals, we are now begging criminals. We are now empowering criminals. Yesterday at another forum, when this issue came up, and somebody said, look, why are they keeping Evans, the kidnapper? If current kidnappers are being paid to release their victims, then Evans should be released.
It's
because
logical.
he didn't go even anywhere near what these people are doing now. And his own spread was very limited. But we're talking of across
the nation.
Entire. So what are we talking about? Unfortunately, comments and declarations from certain quarters are not helpful.
At all.
At all. And I always remember that when we studied the fuel system, then we had an inkling that, look, this thing will one day blow up in our faces. Whether we like it or not, banditry, kidnapping, they have now become the export from the northern part of Nigeria to the southwest.
And
that's why I'm disturbed. As it is now, you cannot safely leave Lagos and go to Ibadan and be sure you get there in one piece.
They've started kidnapping.
They've started kidnapping along that road.
Over the weekend, there was a kidnap.
Just yesterday, an uncle of mine that has lived in Yewa for so long was murdered by headsmen.
We have to leave the conversation. Quickly, your final words, Funke.
Well, we cannot continue to negotiate with bandits. And you can't come to tell Nigerians that it's foreigners who are coming in to become bandits. It's an irresponsible statement to tell a nation, because that's why you're there, to govern the nation. I want to appeal to, no, not appeal. I want to tell our leaders that if they don't arrest this matter, it's coming to them soon.
All right. And that's a fine place to leave it.
It's like you, the head of a family, saying that the people coming to eat your food in your house are not part of your family.
All right.
And then you have to go and begin to beg them.
Olade Ndiari, your public affairs analyst, Funke Treasure, broadcast journalist, thank you for your time.
Thank you.